Good evening, everybody. Welcome to round 3 of our 1980 DRM Division II series, coming to you from the Mainz-Finthen Airport Circuit. I am Jason White. I will be your play-by-play announcer for this event. Drivers are currently in their warm-up session, so let me run down the top 10 for you in qualifying as time expired. On the pole for this race, Matthew Sibignani in the first of the Lancia Beta Monte Carlo turbos with a time of 58.630 seconds. In second is his teammate Richard Wilkes with a time just a quarter of a second slower. In third, Nicholas Kirsten. Fourth, Juha Boss. Fifth, Ruben Fernandez. Sixth, David Saber. Seventh is Ray Riddall. Eighth, Cesarius Lipinski. Ninth, Tim Hille. And 10th, David Watman. And incidentally, all the top 10 cars are turbocharged entries. That's your top 10 in qualifying for the start of this third race in our 1980 DRM Division II series. So, we move from the daunting 14-mile Nürburgring that we had for rounds 1 and 2 to a rather diminutive venue by comparison. This is the airport circuit at Mainz-Finthen. It's located about 3 miles southwest of Mainz. I've been to Mainz. It's a very nice town. This track was first, well, it wasn't a track, it's an airfield. It was opened in 1939 as the Luftwaffe's military airfield, or one of them, and it was subsequently seized by the U.S. Army in 1945 and used by the United States as a NATO facility until the end of the Cold War. From 1964 to 1990, this venue hosted race car events, most notably the DRM and DTM series. The circuit comprises a long runway, which is where the start-finish point is there, and several taxiways. The garages and pits are actually located close to the hangars over by where those sharp turns are. Drivers of turbo entries obviously have an advantage here, as we talked about at the opening, but they'll have to be very careful laying down power as they go out of the very slow corners. Drivers with normally aspirated cars obviously are not going to have this problem, but they are going to suffer in terms of terminal velocity, I'm sure. Today's contest is going to go for 50 laps or 107.5 kilometers. So let's have a look at the driver's standings after the first 2 rounds at the Nürburgring. Simon Watman finds himself in the lead with 21 points. Nicholas Kirsten and Cale McKeels are tied for second with 20 points. Juha Boss is fourth with 15 points, and newcomer Eric Candido continues to impress, slotting in fifth with 14 points. Let's go over the points spread here in the DRM Division II series, just to remind everyone of how that works. First place, you get 20 points. Second, you get 15 points. Third, you get 12 points. Fourth, you get 10 points. Fifth gives you 8 points, and then we have 6, 4, 3, 2, 1 on down the line. To be classified, drivers must cross the finish line after the winning driver has crossed the finish line, and the best 11 results of this series will count towards the championship total. All right, so let's go out in the circuit now, see if we can find someone to hitch a ride with and have a look at this Mainz-Finthen airfield circuit. Here is Tim Hille starting the lap. Why don't we go with him? Here's Tim in the lone Porsche 935 L1, heading down to the first corner, downshifting. You can see the markings there for the runway. Now heading to turn 2, which is a little quicker. And now we're on the backside of the circuit, heading towards the garage area and the hangars. And this is a right and left combination here. And now we move from asphalt to concrete. Now a very quick left-hander here, followed by another right-hander. This is going to be the slowest part of the circuit, as you see the hangars on the left there. Tim accelerates out of the corner. Now you drift a little bit to the left here for another double right-hander that leads you onto the runway once again. There you see the runway markings. Tim Hille accelerates, and that is going to take him to the start-finish area. You see the gantry on the left there, and that is one lap of Mainz-Finthen, a very quick lap. Let's take a look at the same lap from the outside here. Here's Tim, downshifting, heading into turn number 1. Looks like somebody's already hit him up the back there in practice. Although maybe, you know, that piece looked the same way at the Nürburgring. Maybe that's just the way the piece is shaped. I don't know. Anyway, here he goes, downshifting for the right-left combination. And then, of course, there's that surface change here. I'm not sure what that's going to do as far as grip in this section, but they go from concrete back to asphalt for the right-hand combination here. Now back to left again, and then there's the double right-hander that will lead Tim back onto the runway right here, and you can see they have cones there to keep you from using the entire runway, which is probably a good idea. So that gives you an idea of the circuit here at Mainz-Finthen. It's a very difficult challenge in terms of getting power down and not letting the car get away from you and spinning the tires, because there's a lot of power in these cars, a lot of torque, and that may catch some people out here in this race. And obviously this is a very different challenge from the Nürburgring. The Nürburgring was really an endurance test. If you can keep the car on the island and keep the car moving, you have a chance to do well, and that's exactly what happened. That's the reason we see Simon Wattman at the top of the standings. He wasn't necessarily the fastest driver at the ring, but he certainly was able to keep the car rolling and keep the car on the island, and that was what led to his being in first place. There were several drivers that could have done better at the ring, but fate just didn't allow that. So we'll definitely see how much different the result might be here at a very small airfield circuit. And we do have other airfield circuits in this series. We're going to go back to the Nürburgring one more time, but that's going to be with the Bettenschleife, just the very, very short circuit. So that's not going to be anything like the 14-mile Nürburgring contests that we had. Here's Liam Dolan and his Aerohec. Interestingly, he didn't qualify in the top 10 this time. I guess he was having some difficulties in qualifying, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see him come up through the field quite swiftly with this car. Dolan's a fast driver to begin with, but this is a superior car to the conventional 320 BMW Turbo, so we'll see what happens if he rises through the field like he typically does in these events. There you can see Sibignani just behind him in his Lancia Beta Monte Carlo. So it's a Lancia lockout on the front row this time, which ought to make for a very interesting show. We'll see if the BMWs can keep pace with the Lancias in this 50-lap event. See how much time we have here until the start. 23 seconds, 22. So very quickly, coming up at ISO. We go back IndyCar racing for the 13th round out of 15 races. It's the Champion Spark Plug 300K from Laguna Seca. That's going to be on October 5th. Green Flag 2000 CEST. And then the next race in this series will be on October 12th. And that is the, well, I'm not even going to try to say that, but it's at Spa. Round 4 of 13. And then race should start at 2000 CEST. We still haven't gotten to the end of daylight savings time in Europe. Trivia question for you to ponder during this race. Who won the Division 2 portion of the the race at Mainz-Finthen held on May 18th, 1980? Was it A, Hans Heyer, B, Walter Brunn, or was it C, Harald Ertl? We'll have the answer later on in the broadcast. Clock is at 0. It appears we are ready to go to the race session, so here we go. 51 laps on the board. Obviously, one of those is going to be just run off as a pace lap. Let's get to the front here. Matthew Sibignani is not on the grid yet, but we will have a look at the grid proper before we start this race. Hello to everyone joining us on YouTube for our third round of our 1980 Division 2 DRM series. This ought to be really interesting because we have the Lancias locked out on the front row, and it'll be interesting to see what happens at turn 1, and if indeed the Lancias can team together and just basically keep the BMW 320 turbos at bay. And interesting too that the Aeroheck wasn't necessarily the fastest of the 320 turbos. In fact, it's lining up 4th today, with Kirsten in a conventional 320 turbo in 3rd place. All right. So the drivers are now moving away on their parade lap. On the pole, Matthew Sibignani, Team GS Sport, Lancia Beta Monte Carlo. In 2nd is Richard Wilkes, also Team GS Sport, Lancia Beta Monte Carlo. 3rd, Nicholas Kirsten, Team Schnitzer, and this is not one of the Aeroheck varieties, incidentally. The first of those varieties are in 4th place with Juha Boss. 5th, we have Ruben Fernandez. 6th, David Saber, Sac Sporting, number 52. 7th is Ray Radal, D&W Zach Speed Team. 8th, Cesarius Lipinski, Karl-Heinz Becker. 9th, Tim Hille in the Tough Coat Dinal, number 33. That's the only Porsche in the field. 10th is David Wattman, Bavaria Team 67. 12th is Liam Dolan and the other Team Schnitzer entry. 56th, the Aeroheck. 13th is Jonathan Asserclinth, Carl Oppitzhauser, number 69. 14th is Grant Radal in the very brightly colored Wolfgang Buller entry. And then we're right back at the beginning, so we only have 15 cars in this race, rather small field. All right, so the cars are now coming around to the last 2 right-handers that will take them onto the main straight and the runway. You can see the 2 Lancias lining up there to start. We'll wait for the cars to accelerate. That will be our cue that the race is underway. Nicely bunched group here as they come to the line. Waiting for that green flag to start the race. Everybody holding back. And there it is. The race is underway. And we have the 2 Lancias coming toward us here. It looks as if Wilkes is going to get the advantage going into turn 1, and yes, he does. Wilkes takes the lead from Sibignani. Boss is in 3rd. Some people going onto the grass there, but they're going into the 2nd turn. Looks like everybody's doing pretty good. And it's Wilkes in the lead in his Fruit of the Loom, number 51. Lancia Beta Monte Carlo. In 2nd is Sibignani. 3rd, Juha Boss. 4th, Nicholas Kirsten. 5th is Ruben Fernandez. 6th, Anders Nilsson. 7th, David Saber. 8th, Fernandez. Oh, we got a little bit of a yellow flag there. Looks like someone got into some contact there. It is Ruben heading way back to the back of the pack there. So obviously something went wrong there. But here come the 2 Lancias. They're already opening up a little bit of a gap, it appears. Richard Wilkes in front with his teammate Sibignani right behind. Boss 3rd. Kirsten is in 4th. And then we have a real gaggle of cars coming up here. Here is Grant Radal going up the inside of Anders Nilsson, taking a position away, and so does Nilsson there over David Saber. So some activity back here in the 2nd rank of cars. Riding on board with Nilsson here as he's fighting. Wheel spin coming out of that corner. Grant ahead here. I don't think he's going to try and overtake here. No, he's going to stay right behind him. Those tire stacks, too, another thing you got to keep very close eye on. You don't want to hit those. Look at how much he's fighting the wheel going through these turns. And it's the Lancias still in the lead. And it looks like actually that Juha Boss is starting to close in on Wilkes. Actually, now it's Sibignani in the lead. Sibignani has overtaken Wilkes and is now leading in his Lancia. Riding on board now with Juha. He is starting to close in on Wilkes, so he may have a battle here for second in a second here. I said second twice. Heading through the right-left combination by the pits in the garage area. by the hangars here. You can see that everybody's trying really hard to get the power down gently, because with turbocharged cars it certainly can be an issue, as all the cars are clipping the grass here as we head through onto the main runway here at Mainz-Finthen. Look at this action back here with Anders Nilsson trying to catch Grant Riddall. This is a battle for 5th place. Grant had an excellent start. He's up 9 positions from the start, and Anders Nilsson's up 5. So excellent start for those two. And the Lancias continue to lead with Sibignani in front. Here's Nilsson again. He's still chomping at the bit behind Grant. This is one of the best battles on the circuit right now. Let's go back a little bit further. And you see the Ford Capris leading Schlapinski here. And Fernandez there, who's fell way behind in this area at the start. And then you see Liam Dolan, Esserklinth, and the Porsche has actually fallen way down, which is unfortunate to see. Boss still looks like he might have a slight speed advantage here on the main straight, as he seems to close in on Wilkes, but then he loses ground. Oh, he's going up the inside. No, he can't quite find some space there in the GS Sport entry. Well, he's hanging with him a bit better here, but it appears that Juha may have a bit of a speed advantage on the main runway straight. So we'll see what happens when they come back around again, if he's able to make good on that advantage that he has. Sibignani had one good outing at the Nürburgring. He finished 3rd, I believe. So he is very interested in obviously padding his points situation and maybe getting up into the top 5. All right, here we are in the main straight. Let's see what happens here with Juha and the terminal velocity in that Arahek that he's driving. Yes, he does have a bit of a speed advantage. You can see the roll. He pulls out. He goes for the inside, and he's going to take 2nd place from Richard Wilkes. So Juha and the Team Schnitzer, number 55, go up to 2nd place. That was a very textbook pass by Juha. He used the speed advantage that he had and basically just pulled right out and took the position. Now, is Wilkes going to be able to counterattack in this section? He seems to be better through this section than Juha is. And there we see Nilsson still struggling to find a way past Grant Riddall. Grant having a fantastic start, up 9 places from where he started. Here comes Saber and Riddall and other pursuers into the upper portion of the track. And now, yes, definitely Juha's been able to firmly position himself in 2nd place. Is he going to be able to take Matthew Sibignani? It certainly seems like it. Sibignani takes the defensive line, and look at that. Juha just powers right by on the straight. No sweat at all for Juha Boss in that Arahek BMW 320. Team Schnitzer leads with number 55 in the hands of Juha Boss. Sibignani goes back to 2nd, and Wilkes is in 3rd place. Starting to wonder what's going to happen here with Kirsten, but back here, this battle is continuing to rage between Nilsson and Grant Riddall. Look at how close they are here. This is a really interesting battle. Grant Riddall is in his set. Oh, no. Oh, Nilsson has spun the car slightly. He did a 180, and it looks like he's probably, no, actually, wow. He's doing his very best to not lose any positions here. He didn't actually lose a position. He just lost ground to Grant Riddall, but my goodness, that was an incredibly good recovery by Nilsson there. He didn't lose any positions. Very interesting. Now we can see that Grant Riddall starting to close in on Nicholas Kirsten for 4th. And there he goes. Is he going to get by? He's right on the outside. Is he going to sweep across, or is Kirsten going to be able to defend? Kirsten defends on the inside. Excellent. But no, he can't. He drops back. Grant Riddall up to 4th place now in his Escort. Fantastic. And now we see his next target is going to be Richard Wilkes in the Lancia Beta Monte Carlo. Sibignani still second. First is Juha Boss, as we mentioned in the Arrowheck. He's gotten by both of the Lancias on sheer straight line speed, and we know that that car is aerodynamically superior to the conventional 320 BMWs. It was sculpted in the same Pininfarina wind tunnel I'm confusing things. I'm thinking of the Lancias, but in any case, this is aerodynamically superior, should be, to the regular 320. As the name Arrowheck would indicate. Another lap complete here. Starting lap number 10 out of 50. Actually, this is number 9 out of 50, I would think. But in any case, Juha definitely is firmly in first place. We see the two Lancias in second and third, and then we have Grant Riddall. It'll be interesting to see if Grant can catch up to them. He's right with them now on the concrete as they head to the left. Now back to the right again. Looks like Wilkes is having a bit of trouble there getting the power down as Grant is right behind him now. You can also see the leader Boss ahead, so you got the top 4 cars here in one shot from this car. Double right-hander heading now onto the runway. And you can see Nicholas Kirsten in Grant Riddall's rearview mirror. And look at the speed advantage that Grant has here. Pulls out. Is he going to overtake Wilkes? Yes, he is. Heading down the inside. And look at Sibignani. He almost had a look there at the lead for Juha Boss, but he thought better of it and stays behind him. But there is Grant Riddall now in third place. So 3 constructors now in the top 3. You have Schnitzer with their Arrowheck at first place. Second place is the GS team of Matthew Sibignani with their Lancia Beta Monte Carlo. And then you have Grant Riddall with an Escort in third place. So lots of parity in this race so far. Kirsten is closing up now on Richard Wilkes, so that may be another interesting battle coming up here. Second rank of cars back here. And Asserklin is down in 11th place, just outside the points. Wattman is 12th. And unfortunately, here comes Dolan and Tim Hilla. I mean, it's interesting. Dolan is not having that good of a race. It's an uncharacteristically slow day for him, and Hilla bringing up the rear with the Porsche, which is unfortunate. So Sibignani closing back up now on Juha Boss, looking like he wants to take another stab at the lead here. Let's go on board with Sibignani, heading through the right-left here. Now heading back towards the hangars, left. Right. Oh, a little bit of daylight open there, but I don't think that would have been a good place for Matthew to try that. As they're heading now towards this left-hander, a very gentle left-hander that leads them. Oh my goodness, it looks like Juha a bit out of shape there. This may be a chance for Sibignani as they head on to the main straight. Juha goes back in front. I think Sibignani might have had a slow exit there from the corner, so Juha safe this time as they head to the start-finish line. It was the GS team Lancia Beta Monte Carlo you see here. This is the car that was perfected in the wind tunnel, same one that was used for the 320. That's what I was referring to before. So this is a very aerodynamically well thought out package. But then you also have the BMW Arrowheck with its aerodynamic enhancements, and it is definitely in front here in this race. Now the interesting part is I would think that that car would have a superior aero on longer courses that were faster. This is a short course, obviously, but there is that long runway, and Juha seems to be taking good advantage of it as they come down now to complete lap number 12, I believe. Juha's extending his lead here. Grant is in third, fourth is Wilkes, fifth is Kirsten, sixth Saber. You have a bunch of cars back here. Nilsson, Cesare Slipinski, Ray Riddall. And look at this. Here's Ruben Fernandez looking at the inside of Ray Riddall. Can't get it done. And Kirsten staying right with Richard Wilkes here. And Juha definitely looking strong here. He's pulled out a 0.6 of a second lead, which may not seem like much, but on a circuit this short, that's actually not bad. So the other question is, are these engines going to last? Because we see what happens. Oh, we got a little bit of a schmozzle there between there's Saber and Nilsson. Good battle going on there between those two. Is Nilsson going to be able to take Saber on this straight? We'll have a look here and see what happens. No, it looks like Saber's got the superior straight line speed there, unfortunately, for look at this. Look at how close everybody is here. Top three right there in one shot. So things are starting to close down. Grant Riddall in second place now, looking at the leader. Take a look at a replay here of what happened if we can catch the actual overtake. Yeah, here it is right here. You can see it. This is the overtake. Grant Riddall passing Sibignani to go up to second place. And here they are now. This is a live shot coming down the straightaway, and I think Juha is safe for now. Yeah. Things are evening out here in this front rank. And then here is Anders Nilsson still pursuing David Saber. That's the other really good battle on the track at the moment. It's beyond the front. Let's have a ride with Anders Nilsson here for a bit through the second turn. Look at him fight that wheel going through those turns. He does look like he has a slight advantage here on Saber in terms of pace. It's just simply a matter of finding the right spot to exploit it. Some tire stacks a bit askew there. Everybody pushing the limits of adhesion and the actual track space itself. Nilsson really chomping at the bit, trying to get by Saber here. Let's go back to the front, see what's going on. Juha continues, but look at this. I think Grant might have a bit of a roll here. Let's go on board with him, see if he's able to snatch the lead from Juha Boss as they head down to the first turn. It looks like he might be able to do it. No. Schnitzer entry is going to stay in first place. Down to the second turn. Oh, Juha got a slow exit there. Can Grant make anything of it? Nope, not here. There's just not enough room. Right-hander, then to a left-hander. Let's see. Juha's speed on the exit is not as good as Grant's, but again, it's a matter of real estate, really. You got to find room to get by it. It's not enough to be faster. You have to have the room to get by, and that's what I think Grant is struggling with right now. He can't find the real estate to slip by. Maybe he can on this straight. All depends on how quickly they get out of here. Juha takes a very different line through that double right-hander than Grant does, and now they are on the power, most definitely. Grant, it looks they're very even here. Boss now stretching out a little bit. So it looks like that straight line speed advantage goes to Juha just at the end of the straight there. So that's probably what's going to help him stay in front, because they seem pretty even on the back here. Well, actually, I would say that based on what I'm seeing, that Grant has a slight advantage. Now look at this. Here is Kirsten closing in on Richard Wilkes once again for fourth place, possibly. And Tim Hilla and Dolan are both out of the race. Not sure why, but they were not having great races to start with. They were tailing the field. Not sure what happened there. Grant Riddall continues to shadow our leader, Juha Boss. Juha in the Aeroheck BMW. And then you have Tim Hilla. Oh, sorry, not Tim Hilla. That's Grant Riddall. Look at this. He's right behind him now, but I don't know. I mean, that Juha's Schnitzer 320 Aeroheck is just really a fast vehicle, especially on this straight. I think that's what's helping him to defend. Interesting that the Lancia Beta Monte Carlos dominated in qualifying, but here they are running in third and fourth. Kirsten not quite ready to make any kind of an impression on them. Anders Nilsson still fighting to try to get by David Saber. Saber in sixth place. Slapinski is in eighth place. That's exactly where he started. Ruben Fernandez still struggling. He's 4 places down from where he started, and that was about right here at this point. We saw him lose a lot of time. Ray Riddall is in 10th place. Johnny Ace is in 11th, and I believe Wattman 12th is the last car running. Yes. Here we are back in the main straight one more time. And look at this. Here comes Grant. He's looking up the inside, but is Boss going to beat him on acceleration? It looks really close. Here they come down to the first turn. Grant brakes a little bit later and pulls alongside Juha Boss and takes the lead. Grant Riddall is now leading in his Escort. Juha back to second. Now that was a case of, let's take a look at that in a replay. That was really good. Look to the right here and you'll see that really what it came down to was Grant out-braking Juha. That was an excellent maneuver. And it looks like Juha's is falling back a little bit here from Grant, so we'll see if he can catch back up again, but Juha's got to be careful. He doesn't want to fall back into the clutches of the two Lancias, running third and fourth respectively. But look at Grant, he's definitely pulling out advantage now. Sibignani is having a look here, possibly at Juha Boss. We're on board with Sibignani now. Looks pretty even at this moment. Yeah, it doesn't look like he's going to have a chance here. Look at that, how Juha's starting to struggle with that car, I think, for some reason. He's running on the grass there, and I don't know, it seems to be giving him some trouble under braking, so something changing in that car as the race wears on. Heading now into the garage area. Sibignani still looking at Juha now to see if he can find a way by. I'm thinking that Juha might be holding these two cars up because they're starting to pack together, and this is playing right into the hands of Grant Riddall at this stage of the game. He's able to streak away while these cars are quasi doing battle. Look at Nicholas Kirsten coming out to the inside. Is he going to get by Wilkes? Yes, he does. But he goes wide and gives the position right back. My goodness. And there goes Saber. Saber goes up the inside and takes the position. And look at this. Nilsson wants to take advantage of this problem here. And he's, oh goodness, he almost got by Saber there. But you saw what happened there. Kirsten fell back all the way to 7th as a result. And now he's got Schlapinski for close company. So that was a definite advancement there by Kirsten that was thwarted because he ran onto the grass and lost all that time. So you've got to be careful with your braking distances here, because if you're not careful, you could run wide on exit and then into the grass, and then all your effort that you put in is all for naught. Grant Riddall continuing to lead. We're coming up on about the halfway point of this race. Boss staying right with him, though. Sibignani third. Wilkes is in fourth. Saber is in fifth. And Kirsten now is trying to make up some time that he lost in this section last lap. And he is now right with Anders Nilsson. Schlapinski is in eighth. Fernandez ninth. 10th is Ray Riddall. Those are the top 10 paying positions for points. Through the paddock area one more time. Boss seems to settle down a little bit. This car was behaving kind of strangely before, but he looks like he's all right now. A little more calm in his approach. Onto the runway now. Down the straight. Yeah, Grant really holding his own quite well here in that escort. Boss looks like he's able to get close, but not close enough. It's probably going to take a mistake on the part of Grant Ridall for UA Boss to advance his position here. And we talked about that often in these races. You're taking advantage of other people's problems, OPP, to get by. It was definitely the case at the Nürburgring, and it's sometimes the case here. Riding on board now with Juha. Let's see what happens when he gets to the straight here, if he's able to. It really does come down to, first of all, it comes down to how quickly can you get out of this turn, and then terminal velocity. I think Juha lost a bit of momentum there as he was shifting. But let's see what happens here as we get to the end of the straight, because Juha's car seems to make its peak power here. Yeah, right at the end of the straight. You saw a little surge there, and that was before Grant applied the brakes. So, seems the cars of UA Boss, this Team Schnitzer Aerohec, it seems to produce its peak power at the top of the rev range. At least in that instance it did. Oh my goodness, UA is having difficulty shifting here. That's not going to help him in his efforts to get first place back. Meanwhile, the Lancias are still holding station, third and fourth. Nilsson still chomping at the back of David Saber, not giving him any rest. And we might see Fernandez advance a position here if he can keep going at the rate he's going. Back onto the runway. Grant Ridall in that brightly colored Ford Escort. You cannot miss it. And Juha. These two are actually pulling out a bit of a gap to the Lancias here. Things have settled down to some extent now. No real direct competition on the track at the moment. But we'll see what happens, because these cars are going to start to wear the tires more, and the drivers will start to get tired. Mental fatigue will start to sink in. We still have 12 cars out of the 15 that started, or 14 that started, my apologies. All right, so back onto the runway here. Starting the 26th lap, and here comes Boss up the outside, having a look, but Grant defends the position well, and now runs a bit wide. Is Boss going to get it behind the inside? He's alongside him, a little bit of a slide from Grant there, but Grant keeps the position. Fantastic driving by both of these gentlemen into the right and left-hand combination. Wow, that was very, very close between the two of them. Almost in contact there, but Grant was able to hang on. So Juha, after taking a bit of a breather here, looks like he's ready to attack again. We'll see what happens on the straight one more time. We are past half distance in this race. Really excellent stuff here so far. Coming down the straight now. Cars snaking back and forth. Here's Juha. Looks like he might have a speed advantage here. He pulls to the outside. Here comes Juha. Is he going to be able to get by on the outside? Braking now for turn number one. Look for that bright colored car. And no, Juha has, Juha's done it. Juha's gone into first place, passing on the outside. So we have a change in leadership once again. Very interesting race at the front here. The Aerohec BMW back in front, with Grant Ridall slipping down to second place. And there's still a pretty decent gap between these two and the Lancias. Well, it's starting to close down a bit, but oh goodness, Sibignani gets really wide there and might lose. No, he's not going to lose the position to Richard Wilkes, but looked pretty close there. Now, can Grant Ridall counterattack here? Now heading back onto the main straightaway. You see that maneuver that Boss made on Grant actually caused the Lancias to close a bit. And Ray Riddall is out of the race just now. What happened there? Let's have a look. Here's the replay. Ray Riddall heading into... Oh, Ray Riddall smoking badly. So that was an engine failure for Ray Riddall. That's really too bad. So Ray out of the race with a blown engine. Back to live action. Boss still leading. Grant Riddall, is he going to outbrake him? No, he's not going to do that here. No, that's not going to happen. Not enough room. But look at how close the Lancias are now. They've closed back in because of this fight at the front for first place. That's allowed them to close, and Sabre is also closing there. So this race is by no means over. Really interesting how it's developing here, and we'll see what happens here. So now, because of those maneuvers, Grant has to contend with Lancias in his rearview mirror. Sprints down the straight, seems to be okay, safe at this moment, but look at this. Wilkes is looking at his teammate here, but doesn't look like he's going to have an issue there. Oh boy, some cars on the grass here. Cars chomping at the bit to get by, but it's not going to happen here. Two battles going on at once. One between the Lancias and the other between Sabre and Anders Nilsson. That's not going to change, unfortunately, any positions for the pursuers. Now into the double right-hander that leads onto the runway. Seems pretty calm at the moment. Yeah, these top four seem like they're going to be staying where they are for the moment. Although Wilkes, have a look. No, I tell a lie. Wilkes is going to take third place going into turn number one. He sprints by, but no, wait, there's Sibignani on the outside. He's going to take it back. Sibignani takes third place back. Wilkes is on the inside, but no, he has to drop behind, so Wilkes almost advanced to third place there, but Sibignani with a great defense of that position. Very exciting back and forth driving here. And of course, now you notice with that maneuver, that gives a little bit of breathing room for Grant. Not much though, they're starting to close again. Now, looks like Juha might be having some slow exits here, and Grant might have an opportunity here to take the lead back. Let's see what happens on this straight. No, actually, it's going to be Sibignani. Sibignani gets by into second place. Interesting. So Grant had a slow exit there from that corner, and Sibignani slipped right by and into second place. So, wow, this is some surprising maneuvers here. But here's Grant trying to take the position back on the outside. Can he do it? They go into the corner side by side. Sibignani's still on the inside. Looks like he'll be able to defend it. Yes, he does. Sibignani defends second place very well. But here is Grant going up the inside. Is he going to take it second back? Yes, he does. Into the right-left combination. So great racing here between Grant Riddall and Matthew Sibignani. Sibignani looking up the inside once again. Is he going to... Oh, I don't know if that's a good idea. He actually taps... Oh, my goodness. He taps the rear end of Grant Riddall there. And Boss is able to stretch out a little bit of a lead here with this battle. Here is Sibignani finding room on the inside. There's contact a little bit there. Now, is Sibignani going to be able to out-drag? No, he's not. You can see there, Grant Riddall making himself known on the outside, slips back in front of Matthew. A little bit of elbows out driving here from Matthew Sibignani as they head into turn number one. Now number two. And Wilkes is now having to deal with Nilsson, who has risen in another position. He got by Dave at some point. And Nilsson definitely looks faster here than Wilkes. Is he going to attempt to pass? No, not here. Grant's going to have to be very careful because Sibignani is very racy here, and he's going for any piece of daylight he can find. Heading into, up the inside. Oh, no, there's contact there. And actually, oh my goodness, it's going to result in contact with multiple cars. Oh my goodness, wheels flying. This is going to result in multiple DNFs. We have to see a replay of this. So Sibignani went for the inside of Grant. Probably not the best place to do it as they head in here. Now watch what happens. Contact there. And oh my goodness, multiple contact ensues between a bunch of cars. Nilsson's going to be out of the race. It appears that Sibignani's out of the race. And those cars that are continuing even are, yes, Sibignani's out, but the cars that are continuing are going to have some damage as well. Nilsson is the one retirement there, but I guarantee you that they're going to be cars with damage, and that's going to be very difficult for them. It looks like Sibignani just ran out of patience and tried to get alongside, but Grant Riddall continuing in second place. He was actually lucky to keep continuing. Saber now up into third place. Shlapinski fourth. Fernandez is now fifth. So that really shook up the front of the field. Sent a lot of people back down, and it's given Juha a huge lead now. But look at this. Here is David Saber with Grant Riddall. It looks like they're going to be stable for now, but that was a really unfortunate incident. Look at how many DNFs now. That's Nilsson, well, two from that one instance, actually. Sibignani and Nilsson, and I think that whole situation was that was a result of Sibignani just running out of patience and going to the inside of Grant and going for daylight that he could see, but really wasn't enough to get the car alongside, and then it was just a chain reaction accident from there on out. So really unfortunate for everybody who got sent down the field. Wilkes, you can see, is seventh up on the chart there at this point. For Juha, though, it's a dream come true because it gives him a lot of room. Look at Fernandez there working on Shlapinski. Back onto the main straight. You can see the lead that Juha has over these drivers. Look at that. There is Shlapinski attempting to overtake David Saber. Going down the runway. Is he going to be able to get it done? No, he drops back behind. But look at this. Here comes Fernandez. Fernandez up the inside. And is he going to be able to get by? Oh, Shlapinski runs wide, so that ensures it. Fernandez takes the position. He's now into fourth place. So he's up one position now. Fernandez had a terrible start to this race. In the paddock section, he just lost all kinds of space, all kinds of time and positions. But now, thanks to that incident triggered by Sibignani, he's now up to fourth place with all the other cars that went down the field. Grant Riddall is in second place. Sibignani really had a chance to finish well there, but he was looking for every opportunity behind Grant. It just didn't go his way. Coming down now to the first turn once again. Juha really the benefactor of all this, but Grant is in second. Oh, there goes Dave off the track. Is that going to lead to a position change? Possibly. No. Well, no, wait. Oh, goodness. Fernandez has lost his front splitter, so that could be a problem there. Saber and him having slight contact. So, and he's dropped back. So there you go. There's an issue there for Ruben. So what was turning out to be a better drive is now turned for the worse again. He's lost a bunch of positions here. Houston and Shlapinski now battling each other, but that's really too bad. So with 6 retirements now out of the 14 that started, we're closing in on the final laps here. At least we're getting closer to 10 laps to go. And Juha is in the lead, so it's going to be interesting to see if Grant Riddall can chase him down now in his escort. Grant has proven to be very fast, but so is Juha, so it should be a straight-up fight between these two. Saber, really the benefactor of the incident with Sibignani and other cars. He's up to third place, Kirsten fourth, and Shlapinski fifth. There's Ruben continuing on now, but he's going to have the disadvantage of not having that front downforce. So the car is probably going to be pushing something fierce. And that'll also causes... Oh, Wilkes is out of the race. I guess that's another one who... that's probably another person who suffered from that incident. We saw he was caught up in it. Looked like he would continue, but no, he's out of the race. Back onto the straight here. Yeah, Boss definitely hanging on to his advantage. The gap right now is 1.2 seconds, so we'll have to keep an eye on that and see if it goes down. Everybody fairly even here, and Fernandez soldiering on with that front wing. Asserclith actually is another one who's benefited from all that carnage. He's now up to 7th place. And David Watman 8th. Wilkes, of course, out of the race. So anybody who's running at this point is definitely going to get points, assuming that they cross the line after the leader does. Coming onto the straight again, and there's definitely a gain here. It's only 1 second now. It was 1.2 seconds before, now 1. So Grant is definitely closing on the leader, Juha Boss. We'll have to watch and see when he has an opportunity here. These drivers back here seem pretty well spaced out. Johnny Ace is in 7th. Looking back now from Juha's car. See Grant definitely gaining little by little by little. This is the hairpin that's in the paddock section. Now the left-hander that leads to the double right-hander. Grant's really going for... Oh, he's actually going to go for the inside. No, he didn't have any room there. He wasn't far enough along, but the gap has been decreasing by well, now it's a half second, so the gap has been cut in half in one lap. So Grant definitely wants to take the lead once again. It's been an interesting back and forth at the front. At the start of the race, we had the Lancias on the pole and in second place, but eventually Juha asserted himself, and then it's been a back and forth battle between Grant Riddall and Juha. And with the Sibignani incident, we've seen the Lancias basically just their chance to win is gone. They're both out of the race, which is very unfortunate because they definitely had the pace to have a good finish. And look at this, Grant right with Juha now. Heading onto the front straight now, the runway section. And Grant looks like he had an excellent exit there from that turn. He's pulling out now. Is he going to have the speed to get by? No, it doesn't look like it. He's tucks back inside. He goes to the inside again. Now here we go. No, he's going to tuck back in. I think he's just saying to Juha, here I am. If you make a mistake, I'm right here to take advantage of it. Saber in third place, runs on the grass there, but he's all right. There's Kirsten, and then Slipinski, and there's see, that's right there. I think is an example of the push that Fernandez is feeling. He ran off the track, front end pushing. His tires are probably overheating as well at this point. All right, so 10 laps to go now. We're going to see what happens here between these two in the front here. The gap has increased slightly. Actually, now it's down to, it accordions a bit back and forth, but Grant Riddall accelerating now, and it's about a second gap now. how tail end happy these cars are, even under the best of conditions. Grant having to flick the wheel back a bit of opposite lock on every exit of the corner. There he gained a lot of time there. Oh, look at this. A little bit of a slow exit from Juha, and maybe there's a chance here for Grant. Juha is actually a little bit faster here, it appears. They both brake at about the same moment. Right-hand turn. Turn number 2. Right on his back bumper now is Grant Riddall. Juha's exit not quite as quick there as Grant's, but Grant decides to hold station behind Juha through these very tight corners. Now heading through that hairpin, and now drifting back to the left to the double right-hander that leads onto the runway. And Juha continues to defend his lead gallantly. Saber by himself now, basically third. Kirsten fourth. Slapinski fifth. And Ruben soldiering on, doing a good job without that front wing in sixth place. Not the race he would have wanted, but he's going to come home with some points if he can stay on the road. Jonathan in seventh. Eighth is David Watman. And ninth out of the race, Wilkes. So only those top 8 are going to score points because they're on the track still, unfortunately. So it'll be 0 points for the Lancia effort. Juha seems to be stretching out his lead a little bit here. Late braking from Grant Riddall as he tries to find an advantage. Back onto the main straight now. Incredible pace that these two are setting, and you have to wonder. And here comes Grant looking up the inside. No, he can't make it happen. You got to wonder about the engine life on these cars, how hard they've been pressing, because we did see, I believe that was Ray Riddall out of the race with a blown engine early on, so he was pushing too hard. So we'll have to see what happens between these two. I mean, they're obviously running at the absolute limit of both adhesion and taking the engine to the full rev range as Grant looks up the outside, but just cannot get it done, and it loses a little bit of momentum there as he gets the car sideways. So Grant definitely is the faster of these two cars, especially in this section. And look at him, he's just looking everywhere for a way by Juha Boss as they take the double right-hander onto the runway. So Juha's car might be starting to lose traction. Heading down to the first turn once again. Downshifting, closing laps here of round 3 in our 1980 DRM Division 2 series here at ISO. We thank you for joining us on YouTube. Hope you're enjoying this contest. It's been really interesting from the start. And we're just about ready to wrap this one up here. And the question is, can Juha hold off Grant Riddall, who appears to be faster than him in some sections of the track, but not on the long straight. Here he definitely seems to gain an advantage, but there's very little he can do with it. Again, as we said earlier, it's not just a matter of being faster than the person in front, it's a matter of finding a way by. And that seems to be what's keeping Juha in front, is that there's limited space here on this Mainz-Finthen airport circuit. Coming around now to complete another lap. And of course, we mentioned before, engine life is also a consideration. I wouldn't be surprised if we see 1 or 2 cars retire before the end of this race due to engine failures, but we'll have a look, see what happens. Grant running a little bit wide there, but doesn't seem to lose much momentum. And Sabre is right back there, just in case these two make a mistake in the final laps of this race. All right. So really a game of chess now. It's Juha trying to protect his lead at all costs here, and Grant looking for any sign of weakness. So we have laps 49, 50, and 51 to go. 3 laps to go as we come around this time. Look at Grant pulling out alongside. Is he going to be able to get purchase on the inside? He's going to brake late probably. Juha still in the lead. They brake. And there goes Grant into first place. Grant now leads with 3 laps to go. A very, very calculated pass going into turn 1. Let's take another look at that. From the front nose of Juha, and you can see downshifting here. Grant just does the textbook, I'm going to brake a little later than you, slips out, and he doesn't even get in the grass. That was really, really well executed by Grant. And here they are, live shot now, so Grant now in the lead. When they come by, there'll be 2 laps to go. David Sabre again right there just in case something happens. Only 8 cars running, and only 8 cars should score points as a result. Heading on to the main straight. Oh my goodness, there was a little bit of a lapse there, it appeared, by Grant. And let's see if Juha can take advantage. Juha definitely moving a bit faster than Grant here. He's going up the inside. Is he going to downshift? No, Grant is able to get to that corner first. They're right nose to tail now as they're heading into the second turn. This is going to be a very exciting finish. Pits are straight ahead, but neither of them are going there because they have got a battle to resolve here. Onto the concrete. Juha having a look around the outside there. Look at how close Sabre is now. You can see him in the rearview mirror. He's closed right up here. Coming around this time, they will start the final lap of this race. Braking again is Grant. Look at how close Sabre is. You can basically say it's going to be between these 3 now, heading into the final lap of the race. Here comes Juha on the outside. He's got more speed than Grant. Can he pull off the pass? Into turn number 1, side by side. Grant looks like he's defending himself there into the corner. Yes, Juha slips in behind Grant Riddall. David Sabre closing in on this group too. So it looks as if Grant he was able to defend himself brilliantly there. Juha, look, oh, Juha has lost his front wing. He got too close, and my goodness, I think that is the end of that battle. And there goes Sabre by into second place. Sabre is now in second. Grant Riddall free and clear of this group. I think that's basically the race. But here they come around now to the left-hander and then to the double right-hander. It's been a really exciting race, but it looks as if Grant Riddall is going to be the one to take home the hardware as they head onto the main straight now. Here they come. Look at Sabre. He just got past Juha. And Juha trying to get by, but no, that's not going to. He just manages to get by at the finish there. David Sabre. The winner is Grant Riddall. Wolfgang Bollinger, number 58. In second place, the finish was David Sabre. Third was Boss. A very close finish there. Fourth, Nicholas Kirsten. Fifth, Cesare Slipinski. Sixth, coming home is Ruben Fernandez with a damaged car also. And seventh is Jonathan Asserklint. Eighth, here's David Watman, the last car running on the track, and he will take points for 8th place. He's got to cross the line. Everybody has to do that in order to collect the points. And there he goes, across the line. No engine failures on the top 8 towards the end of the race. That's interesting. I was expecting to be at least 1 or 2, but there we go. That's the top 8 in this series, and everybody's heading back to the garage area now. cars are being put away for the day, but that was a very exciting and interesting race with Grant Riddall taking his brightly colored car, his Escort, to the winner's circle. I don't know if they have a winner's circle at Mainz-Finthen, but if they did, that's where he would be going. So that was round 3 of our 1980 DRM Division 2 series. Let's take a look at the trivia question now. Trivia question was, who won the Division 2 portion of the Mainz-Finthen race in the 1980 DRM series? And it was held on May 18th, 1980. Was it A, Hans Heyer, B, Walter Brunn, or was it C, Harald Ertl? Time is up. We're going to wait and see if anyone wants to venture a guess. And Anders Nilsson is going to say C. Anybody else want to chime in? Barry Lynn is saying A. Well, Barry Lynn, guess what? You're right. It is A, Hans Heyer. He's been the answer before in this trivia question thing that we do occasionally. All right, so thanks everyone for watching. Let's remind you of what's coming up at ISO. Coming up next week, October 5th. We have the 13th out of 15 rounds for the 1987 Kart EPG IndyCar World Series. It's the Champion Spark Plug 300K. Green flag for that should be 2000 CEST. That's on the old Laguna Seca without the infield portion. It's a very challenging circuit, lots of elevation change, and of course the incredible corkscrew turn, which is very challenging even for the best of our drivers. And then also coming up is the next round of this series, round 4 of 13, and that's going to be at Spa, and that's on October 12th. The race will start at 2000 CEST. All right, so we would like to thank all of you for watching round 3 of our 1980 DRM Division 2 series. Next week, Jonathan will be with you for the IndyCar race. This is Jason White saying so long from Mainz-Finthen. Everybody take care and be safe.